Primitive data structures are called as basic structures. They are directly operated upon by machine level instructions. Non-primitive data structures are not directly operated upon by machine level instructions. Suppose you want to search a particular data in the given list of element. In that case, we can go for searching operations. The elements are not arranged in a sequential order, so we can call it as it is a non-linear data structure. Welcome to my second session of data structure. I am Shweta, lecturer in Vidyashram, Temple of Excellence, Mysore. In my last session, I have discussed about data structure and its types. Data structures deals with the study of how the data is organized in the memory. Different ways of storing data on your computer. How many ways we can organize the data in the memory location. Data structure make code cleaner and easier to understand. Using the data structure, we speed up the execution and save time and efficient use of memory location. Mainly there are two types of data structure. They are primitive data structure and non-primitive data structure. I have explained primitive data structure. Primitive data structures are called as basic structures. They are directly operated upon by machine level instructions. So, primitive data structures are not created by the programmers. So, it is not a user defined data types. We have some primitive data types. They are int, float, char, double, pointers, etc. So, in today's session, I am going to discuss about non-primitive data structure. What is non-primitive data structure? Non-primitive data structures are derived from primitive data structures and it is more complex data structure. So, non-primitive data structures are not directly operated upon by machine level instructions. So, this non-primitive data structures is called as user-defined data structures. So, non-primitive data structures are not directly operated upon by machine level instructions. So, it is a user-defined data structure. And non-primitive data structure again classified as linear data structure and non-linear data structures. So, what is non-primitive data structure? Non-primitive data structures are called as user-defined data structure and it is not directly operated upon by machine level instructions. And this non-primitive data structures is derived from the primitive data structure and it is complex data structures, and again it is classified as linear data structures and non-linear data structures. And next we'll see the operations on non-primitive data structures. Non-primitive data structures can perform some common operations. So first operation is traversing. What is traversing? Access each element exactly once. This operation visits every element in the data structure exactly once. This is called as traversing. Traversing means the process of accessing each element exactly once. It is called as traversing. I will give one general examples for traversing. If you have a set of 30 students in the classroom and I want to distribute a sweet to every student in the class, means you go to the first student and give one sweet and go to the next student and give one sweet. So, this operation has repeat for every student in the classroom. So, this traversing operation visit every data in the data structure exactly once. This is called as traversing. So, next operation is insertion. What is insertion? Insertion means inserting an element into the data structure. Example for insertion. Insertion means adding an element. Here you have 4 number of elements. If you want to add one more element into this set of elements, so you can use insertion operation. And next operation is deletion. So what is deletion? Deletion means removing of existing data element from the given collection of data elements is called deletion. So what is deletion? Deletion means removing of existing data in a set of elements. Example, if you want to delete this second element in a given set of elements, so you can use deletion operation. So we have studied traversing, insertion and deletion operation. So next operation is searching. So what is searching? The process of finding the location of a data element in the given collection of data. So the process of finding the location of a data element in the given collection of data. Suppose you want to search a particular data in the given list of element. In that case, we can go for searching operations. Searching means process of finding the location of the given set of elements. So finding the location. Example, if you want to find one particular student in a particular classroom, so you can use for searching operation. Searching means finding the location of a given set of elements. This is called searching operation. So next operation is sorting. So what is sorting? So what is sorting? Sorting means arrangement of elements in some logical order, either ascending or descending in numerical data and dictionary order for non-numerical data. So you can see the example here, arrangement of elements in either ascending order or descending order. This operation is called as sorting operation. So next last operation is merging. Merging means the process of combining the elements of two structures to form a single structure. The process of combining the elements of two structures to form a single structure are called as merging. Merging combines the two sorted lists into one sorted list is called as merging. I will give one general example for merging. You have a ranked list of first PUC and another list of second PUC. So I want to find out the combined rank for the entire college of first PUC and second PUC. So I can merge this sorted list of both first PUC and second PUC. So once again you merge this both first PUC and second PUC list. So you will get the final merge list. So this operation is called as merging. So non-primitive data structures can perform some operations. They are traversing, insertion, deletion, searching, sorting and merging. And non-primitive data structures again classified as linear data structures and non-linear data structures. So next concept is linear data structure. So what is linear data structure? In linear data structure, data or elements are arranged in a sequential order. So data are organized in a sequential order, then we can call it as linear data structure. So data structure in which elements are in sequence and form a linear series. When we can call it as it is a linear, so elements are arranged in a sequential order, we can call it as linear data structure. And some commonly used linear data structures are arrays, stack, queues and linked list. So commonly used linear data structures are arrays, stacks, queues and linked list. These are the linear data structure. There is one more thing, we can find out the particular data structure is a linear data structure. Then when we can call it as linear data structure? I will tell one example. When the element is having one predecessor and one successor, then we can call it as is a linear data structure. When the element is having one predecessor and one successor, then we can call it as is a linear data structure. You can see the example here. This number 4 is having one predecessor and one successor. Except this first and last element. In first element, there is no predecessor but it's having successor. In last element, there is predecessor but no successor. So this is called as linear data structure. Here also we can see it is having one predecessor and one successor. So this type of data structures are called as linear data structure. Elements are arranged in a sequential order. We can call it as linear data structure. Some commonly used linear data structures are arrays, stacks, queues and linked list. I will show you one example for sequential order. Here elements are arranged in a sequential order, then easily we can find out the first number, second number, third number, etc. This is called as linear data structure. So next topic is non-linear data structure. Why it is called as non-linear data structure? It is not a linear factor. Why we can call it as non-linear data structure? Why? The elements are not arranged in a sequential order, so we can call it as it is a non-linear data structure. In non-linear data structure, all the data are arranged in a random manner. Then we can call it as non-linear data structure. The commonly used non-linear data structures are trees and graphs. Trees and graphs, we can call it as non-linear data structure. Why it is a non-linear data structure? This element is having one predecessor but two successors. So we can call it as non-linear data structure. This element is having one predecessor but two successors. Then we can call it as non-linear data structure. Trees and graphs are called as non-linear data structures. So next topic is the commonly used linear data structures are arrays, stacks, queues and linked lists. So first I will explain array. What is an array? An array is a data structure that contains a group of elements, is a collection of variables. Array is called as homogeneous type of elements or same type of elements is called as an array. An array is a data structure that contains group of elements. So what is the definition of an array? An array is a ordered collection of elements. It is a homogeneous collection of elements having a same name and same data type. In array, the elements are arranged one after the other in adjacent memory locations. So we can arrange the elements one after the other in an array. And these elements are accessed by numbers called subscripts or indices. So the elements are accessed by the numbers called as subscript or indices value. And the subscript value or indices value can range from 0 to n minus 1. Subscript value is ranged from 0 to n minus 1. All the subscript value should be in positive value. So what is an array? An array is a data structure. An array is a data structure. All the elements are arranged in a sequential order. So it is called as linear data structure. Array is a linear data structure. An array is a linear data structure. So this is the way you can visualize an array. So array is a data structure. Elements are arranged one after the other. So this is the way you can visualize an array. And the second term is containing a number of data values. It contains a group of data values. Example, here we have some number of elements. So you can use any number of data values. It's a collection of group of elements. So array is a collection of number of data values and all of which are same type. All the values, all the data values should be a same type. Example 5, 4, 6, 7, 8. This is one data values. So this is one data values. These two data values are perfectly correct. So these two are same type of data values. Why? Because here I have used all the integer values. Here I am using the characters, but this is wrong. It is not a same data values. Array can contain all the integers, floats and characters, but it does not contain any multiple items, multiple data items. So this is the concept of array. So what is the definition of array? An array is a data structure that contains group of elements. It is a homogeneous or same type of elements. Next, types of array. Mainly there are three types of array: one-dimensional, two-dimensional and multi-dimensional array. So first we'll see what is one-dimensional array. An array with only one row and one column is called as one-dimensional array. One-dimensional array means it contains only one row and one column. We can call it as one-dimensional array. What is the syntax of one-dimensional array? Very important question for 2 marks. Write the syntax of one-dimensional array. First you should write the data type and array name and size of the array. Size of the array we can call it as subscript value. is a size of the array, subscript value, and you should end with a semicolon. Data type, array name and size. So what is this data type? Types of value, it can store example int, float, char, double, etc. So it can store all the data types. And what is an array name? Name of the array. To identify the array, we can give one name, that is called as array name. Next, size, the maximum number of elements that the array can hold. It can hold maximum number of elements. Example, int a of 5 and int a of 100,000, etc. And you can give all the data values called float, double, character, etc. So this is one example for one dimensional array. So in one dimensional array contains only one rows or one column. We can call it as one dimensional array. Example, int a of 5. How to represent the array elements? Here I will explain with an example. The name of the array I will give small a. The name of the array is a. These are the array elements have given a, b, c, d, e. So this is called base address, address of the memory location. Compiler can allocate all the contiguous memory locations. So we can assume 1000, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. You can assume 10, 100, 2000, 4000, 8000. We can assume the base address. And this is called location. This is subscript value. This is the location of this element. So the location of this first element is a of 0. So the location will start from 0. A of 0, A of 1, A of 2, A of 3 and A of 4. So totally we have 5 number of elements, 0 to 4. Here we have int a of 5. So all the subscript value should start from 0. So you will end with 0 to n minus 1. 0 to n minus 1. So it will be a 5 number of elements. So here we have lower bound and upper bound. What is this lower bound and upper bound? So all the subscript value should start from 0 to n minus 1. So first element, that is 0, is called as lower bound and the last element is called as upper bound. Using this lower bound and upper bound, we can calculate the length of the array. So next concept is length of the array. How to calculate the length of the array? Here upper bound is called as UB, lower bound is called as LB, and the length of the array can be calculated as L is equal to UB minus LB plus 1. So this is the formula. Using this formula we can find out the length of the array. Example, if an array A has 5 elements, that is 10, 20, 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. Here stored in location, it's stored in the memory location A of 0, A of 1, A of 2, A of 3 and A of 4. So here we have 5 elements, that is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 stored in the memory location 0 to 4. So this is my location of these elements. And here upper bound and lower bound. How to find the upper bound and lower bound? This is called as upper bound and this is called as lower bound. This is the way you can visualize an array. You can use vertical format and horizontal format also. We can represent an array. Here upper bound is 4 and lower bound is 0. So what is the value of upper bound and lower bound? Upper bound is equal to 4 and lower bound is minus 0 plus 1 is in the formula. So what is the formula for finding the length of the array? L is equal to UB minus LB plus 1. 4 minus 0 plus 1. So what is the answer? 4 plus 1 is equal to 5. So finally we got the value is 5. This is the size of the array. So totally we have 5 size, 5 number of elements, 0 to 4. Phi is the size of the element. Using this formula, we can calculate the length of the array. This is called as location of this element starts from 0 to n minus 1. This is lower bound, first element is lower bound and last element is upper bound. This is the elements we are storing in a memory. So next concept is memory representation of one-dimensional array. Here we have to use one simple formula, that is location of A of P is equal to base of A plus W into P of LB. So my question is int A of 4. Here we are using only 4 elements. How to find the memory representation of given value? This is the formula for finding the memory location. So what is this A? A means the name of the array. A means name of the array. P means the location of the element. And P means location of the unit or element. So A is a name of the array. P means location of the element. And what is this W? W is the number of words per memory cells. W is the number of words per memory cell. I will assume 1001, 1002, 1003 and 1004. I am assuming the base address, that is 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. You can assume any numbers 10, 1000, 2000, 4000, etc. So this is called as base address. Base address. The base address starts from 1001 to 1002, 1002 to 1003, 1003 to 1004. So the size of the integer for each element is 1. Size of the integer for each element is 1. So W is equal to 1. Word is equal to 1. Size of the integer for each value is 1. So in place of W I can put 1. And here I will take 20, 30, 40 and 50. These are the elements I am going to store in a memory. So what is the location? A of 0, A of 1, A of 2 and A of 3. Here we have 4 number of elements. Using this formula, how to find the memory representation of one-dimensional array? So A is called as the name of the array, W is the number of words per memory cell, and LB is called as lower bound, and P is called as location of the unit. So what is LB? LB means lower bound, that is 0. Upper bound is 3 and lower bound is 0. Next what we should do is, I want to find the address of this memory location A of 2. What is the memory location of A of 2? That we need to find using this formula. So I will substitute the values. A means name of the array and P means location of the unit. Here I want to find the address of this location 2. So P is equal to 2. And next is base of A. So base address is 1001. So next is W. W is equal to 1. And P means again location. And LB means lower bound is 0. So what is the next step? 1001 plus 2 into 1 is 2 minus 0. So we will get 1003. So what is the address of this memory location? A of 2, it is 1003. We got 1003. Like this we can find the memory representation of one-dimensional array. So first we have to allocate all the array elements and the location of these elements and memory address. And using this formula easily we can find the memory representation. It's very simple concept. First you should clear about the number of elements which you should add in a memory. Write all the array name and base address and location of this element, and using this formula you can find the memory representation. I will give one more example. Here we have int a of 5 is equal to 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. So I have 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. So totally I have 5 number of elements. So starts from 0, 1, a of 2, a of 3, a of 4. So name of the array is A. Here I will give the base address 102, 104, 106, 108 and 110. So here I have given the base address. So here I will assume the base address from 102. The size of the integer of each element is 2. So W is equal to 2. And you can use this formula, you can find the memory representation of one-dimensional array. And here I want to find the address of this memory location 3. Address of this memory location is 3. So I want to find the address of 3. Memory location is 3. Base of A is starts from 102 plus W is equal to 2 and P is 3 minus lower bound is 0. So what is the value? 102 plus 2 into 3 is 6. So you will get 108. So base address of this memory location is 108. Like that you can find the memory representation of a given elements. Very interesting topic. Easily you can calculate the length of the array and you can find the memory representation of one-dimensional array. This is about one-dimensional array. In my next session, I will discuss about the operations of one-dimensional array. Thank you.